Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going all in on a character that I know a lot of you are really into, Monkey D. Luffy, the one and only captain of the Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece.
Definitely a fan favorite.
Oh yeah, big time. So we're going to do a deep dive today, really explore his whole deal. His journey, his personality, those wild powers of his.
All the things that make him such a compelling character, why he's stuck with fans for, what is it, over 2 decades? Crazy.
It really is. And we've got a ton of stuff to go through, articles, wikis, so much to cover. You ready to dive in?
More and ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first. Windmill Village. Pretty humble beginnings for a future pirate king, right?
It is, but it's super important. It shows us who Luffy is at his core right from the start. It's that encounter with Shanks that sets everything in motion.
Right. That super charismatic pirate dude.
Exactly. He really sparks that dream in Luffy, but what's cool is that it's not about power or riches for him. It's about freedom, adventure, protecting his friends.
Yeah, he's all about loyalty. And then, boom, he eats the gum fruit, gets those awesome rubber powers.
Well, yeah, major drawback there.
No swimming. You'd think that would, totally sink his dream right then and there. Pun intended.
You would think. But it's this classic trade-off, right? Sacrifice for power, something that comes up again and again in Luffy's story.
He really embraces his limitations. Doesn't let them define him.
Yeah, he just rolls with it. That's what makes him so inspiring, That unwavering commitment, no matter what.
For sure. And talk about sacrifice. Shanks losing his arm to save Luffy from that Sea King. I mean, wow. What a moment.
Seriously, that moment just cements their bond, and it gives so much meaning to that straw hat, too.
Right. It's more than just a, cool look.
Way more. It's a promise, a symbol of the kind of legacy Luffy wants to build.
So, at 17, off he goes to find the One Piece, become Pirate King. Classic shonen manga setup.
It is. But what I think is really interesting is how he goes about building his crew. It's not just about finding the strongest fighters. He's looking for people who connect with his values, like forming a family almost.
Totally. It's that whole found family trope done so well.
Exactly. And you see it right away with Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji. They all bring something different to the table. Different skills, different personalities, but they click.
And those early wins, like against Arlong, it's not just about Luffy being strong. It's that he uses his strength to protect the people he cares about.
Totally. Like with Nami and her village.
Big time.
Yeah.
Okay, then they hit the Grand Line. That's where things get real, right?
Oh, yeah. No more messing around. The Grand Line is wild. Unpredictable weather, crazy strong enemies.
Talk about a trial by fire.
It is, but that's where we really see Luffy step up as a captain. He's up against warlords like Crocodile and Gecko Moria, has to deal with betrayal.
He goes through a lot.
He does, but he learns from it, grows from it. And it forces him to rely on his crew even more.
It's not just about winning anymore. It's about those lessons learned along the way. And the crew just keeps getting more interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brooke, a reindeer doctor, and a talking skeleton. Come on, only Luffy could pull that off.
Seriously, it's such a unique mix. And that's part of the appeal, right? It's not just about power levels and epic fights. It's the heart. The humor.
The found family thing again?
Exactly. It's what makes them more than just a crew, right?
Totally. And that bond, that family they built, it's really tested after the Subodi Archipelago, right?
Oh, absolutely. Getting separated for 2 years after that whole Kizaru and Kuma thing, I mean, talk about a turning point.
They're forced to train, to grow on their own. But when they finally come back together...
Oh, man, those bonds are even stronger. It's amazing.
Okay, but then they enter the new world, where the 4 emperors rule. The stakes are, unbelievably high.
It's a whole new level of danger. And we really see Luffy developing his Hafaki.
Right. That adds a whole other dimension to his abilities. It's not just about being rubbery anymore.
Exactly. It's the spiritual energy, right? Enhancing his attacks, defense. He can even sense danger and overpower weaker wills.
And there's different types of Hagaki too, right?
Yeah. Armament Haki, Observation Haki, and then, of course, Conqueror's Hakari.
Which only a few people have.
Exactly. It's like this testament to his growth, not just as a fighter, but as a leader.
So he's not just strong physically. He's got this incredible willpower, mental strength.
He does. And then, bam, the big reveal about his devil fruit. It's not just the gum fruit. It's the human fruit model, Nika.
He's the legendary sun god Nika. I mean, come on. What a twist.
It changes everything, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, those goofy rubber powers take on this whole new meaning.
Totally.
Yeah.
And his Gear 5 transformation, it's not just visually amazing, it's like a symbol
Yeah,
of that freedom and joy that Nika represents.
exactly. Limitless potential.
Okay, but with Elbaf, things are getting really interesting.
They are. This whole thing with Loki, the accursed prince, is a big deal, especially since he's saying he's the sun god.
Right. And he connected to the treasure tree atom, too, which is...
Oh, yeah. Lots of questions there.
And the fact that Luffy runs into him in the underworld, chained up with Sea Stone, I mean, that's going to lead to a showdown, right?
It has to. Plus, we've got Dr. Saul collapsing out of nowhere.
And Shanks' crew showing up in Elbaf. It can't all be coincidence.
No way. It's got to be connected somehow. This is Oda we're talking about, right?
So where do you think this is all heading?
It feels like Luffy's story is building to something huge, something epic.
I'm with you on that. What do you guys think? What's been the most surprising part of Luffy's journey so far? What are you most curious about? Hit us up in the comments.
You know, it's funny. Lucky's personality, on the surface, he seems so simple, but there's a real depth to him. That's what I think draws people in.
Right. Like classic shonen protagonists, you know?
Yeah.
Carefree, optimistic, always down for a fight.
Exactly. But he's got something more to him, something that sets him apart. It's that sense of justice, that unwavering loyalty. He's got this moral compass, even if it's not, like, totally conventional.
He's got his own code for sure.
Yeah. He protects his friends no matter what, and even his enemies. They end up respecting him, his sense of right and wrong.
He's definitely got that it factor. And wow, is he determined. No matter how many times he gets knocked down, he always gets back up.
Right. Stronger than before. It's like he's got this unshakable belief in himself, in his dream.
That's what makes him so inspiring.
Totally. And it's interesting because, you know, he's impulsive, acts first, thinks later. Some people see that as a weakness.
All right.
But it also makes him so unpredictable.
It's
Dangerous, even.
keeps everyone on their toes. Makes for some great moments, that's for sure.
Yeah. And he's more perceptive than people give him credit for.
Oh, yeah. He reads people really well.
He can spot a phony a mile away. And he's good at figuring out what makes people tick.
Yeah.
Which is probably why he's able to form such strong bonds, alliances.
He gets people. He sees the good in them, even when they might not see it themselves.
Yeah, even when they seem like straight-up villains.
Okay, we got to talk about his family. I mean, talk about legendary. His grandpa is Garp, the hero Marine, and his dad, Dragon, the leader of the Revolutionary Army.
Whoa, yeah, talk about some serious lineage.
It adds so much to his story. Like, he's caught between these opposing forces.
Right. It makes you wonder how much his family has influenced his own views on justice, on freedom.
And then there's Ace and Sabo, his sworn brothers.
Those relationships add a whole other level of depth to Luffy's story. So much joy, but also a lot of heartbreak.
Losing Ace was huge, but it also pushed him to be even stronger to protect the people he loves.
Yeah, that's a turning point for sure. And then reuniting with Sabo after thinking he was dead. I mean, come on.
The feels so good. It really shows how much family means to Luffy.
Okay, but enough about feelings. Let's talk about Luffy's powers.
Time to get into the nitty-gritty.
This guy is a one-man army. Let's start with the basics. The rubber body. From the gum-gum fruit. Or should we say, the Nika fruit.
Right, so immune to blunt attacks, electricity.
But weaknesses too, right?
Yeah, sharp objects, sea stone. It shows that even with these awesome powers, he's not invincible.
Keeps things interesting, right?
Totally. And his fighting style is so unique. He takes those rubber powers and makes them into these super creative attacks.
The gum-gum pistol, the gum-gum gatling. I mean, classic.
Right, he's always coming up with something new.
It makes him really hard to fight.
Yeah. Totally unpredictable, always adapting. And then, of course, there are the gears.
Oh, yeah. Each one takes his powers up a notch.
Gear 2, speed boost. Gear 3, giant strength.
And Gear 4,
Yeah.
won't even get me started. He goes full-on bouncing tank, Kong gun.
Right, he's like a whole different fighter.
So awesome.
Each gear shows that he's willing to push his limits, take risks. But it's Gear 5, the Nika Awakening. That's something else.
It's like he becomes a cartoon, bending reality with his imagination.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
so cool, so powerful. And it really fits that whole Nika spirit, you know, playful but unstoppable.
Okay, but we can't forget about the Hagati.
Right, that's a huge part of his power.
He's got all three types. Armament Hamaki for hardening his body, Observation Haki for sensing attacks, and Conqueror's Hakati.
To overpower everyone else.
Exactly. It's amazing how he combines those Hakati techniques with his double fruit powers. He's got his own style, and it's always evolving.
Like that fight against Kaido. Remember when he used a mission to send out those shockwaves? And then internal destruction
Yeah.
damaged him from the inside.
It was amazing, a real turning point in the Wano arc.
Totally. Showed just how far Luffy's come.
He's earned his reputation as one of the strongest pirates out there.
I mean, his bounty. 3 billion berries. That's insane.
The world government knows he's a threat, especially now that he's taken down Kaido and become one of the 4 emperors.
It's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
But with that comes even more challenges. Responsibilities.
He's at the top now, got to navigate pirate alliances, politics.
And still stay true to himself.
Yeah.
To his ideals.
Right. Plus, we've got Elbaf, Loki, Shanks' crew, the whole sun god thing.
So much going on. It feels like it's all building to something massive.
It does. It's exciting.
Isn't
And a
it?
little nerve-wracking. What do you think happens next?
Honestly, no idea. But whatever it is, with Luffy leading the way, it's going to be one wild ride.
For sure. Okay, before we wrap things up, what about you guys? What stands out to you most about Luffy? What are you hoping to see happen next? Let us know.
Kind of wild to think about, right? He started as this little kid in Windmill Village. Straw hat, big dreams, and now look at him.
It's pretty inspiring, his whole journey. Like proof that if you just keep going, never give up, you can achieve anything.
He's taken on, some of the strongest pirates out there? The Marines. Overcome crazy odds.
And never lost sight of his goal, becoming the Pirate King.
Exactly. But it's not just about reaching the end, right? It's about the journey itself.
Yeah. Luffy's always pushing himself, testing his limits, and he has fun doing it, no matter how dangerous things get.
That's what I love about him. He's got these insane powers, a destiny tied to, ancient myths, but he's still so relatable.
Totally. He's goofy, he's impulsive.
He's just himself.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message, you know? It's okay to be a little different. Embrace what makes you you. As long as you're true to yourself, to your friends, that's what matters.
Speaking of ancient myths, that whole sun god Nika thing, it adds a whole new level of mystery to the story.
Oh, for sure. It's like Oda's creating this giant web of history and legend, and Luffy's right at the center of it.
And there's so much we still don't know. What can Nika really do? What's the world government hiding about this whole thing?
Right. And what about Elbaf?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Shanks showing up, Loki causing chaos, Dr. Sol collapsing like that. It's got to be connected somehow.
It has to be. And you know, Oda loves to drop little hints, foreshadowing things that seem small at the time.
But then, boom, they become these major plot points later on.
Exactly. It's what makes One Piece so good. There's always something more to discover.
It's crazy how much thought and detail he puts into it.
Okay. But beyond all the battles, the mysteries, there's this theme of freedom that runs through Luffy's whole story.
He's not just trying to become king, right? He's fighting for the right to live life his own way, protect his friends, break free from all those rules that society tries to impose.
He's a total rebel, always questioning authority.
And he inspires other people to do the same. He shows them that it's okay to be different, to fight for what you believe in.
Even if it means going against the whole world.
He's a symbol of hope, a reminder that things can change, even when the world seems dark and unfair.
So, with all that said, why should anyone care about Luffy's adventures? What's in it for the listener?
That's a good question. I think there's something in Luffy's story for everyone, honestly. Whether you love the fights, the crazy world building.
Just those heartwarming moments between friends.
It's all there. There's a reason why this guy is so popular, why he's touched so many people.
He reminds us to be ourselves, follow our dreams, never give up on what we believe in.
He shows us that even when things are tough, there's always room for laughter, for joy.
And that real strength comes from the people around us, from the bonds we share.
Luffy's story is far from over. There are so many more adventures waiting for him, for the Straw Hats, and honestly, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me neither.
If you enjoyed this deep dive on Monkey D. Luffy, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our future deep dives.